Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to What We Thought. Oh, sorry. I'm Daniel.
I'm Laura. Welcome to What We Thought Would Happen. And we're here with the brilliantly talented, multifaceted, iconic Margaret Cho.
Yay.
Yay, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And she brought her little baby chihuahua, Lucia, too.
Lucia.
Margaret, you two are what I'd call road warriors. Like, you are gone all the time, right, Margaret? You're always touring.
Yes.
Pretty much a lot, right?
Yes. We have a little bit of a break right now. We'll start up again next week. So that's nice. But yeah, we've been going on the road for like even during the pandemic, we did some stuff.
Yeah.
So
which was
yeah,
crazy.
pretty consistently, which is great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
But Margaret's tour, Live and Livid, is 40 years of being a stand-up comedian, which I think is fucking amazing.
So long.
Yeah.
That's
Weird.
amazing, yeah.
But she is a road dog. We were just in Niagara Falls,
Oh,
Buffalo adjacent.
wait a second. Like
And-
this?
Yes.
Yes.
Because Laura's from Jamestown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Niagara Falls
But
is a
did-
big European trip.
Did you read the news? While we were there was an escapee. Did you see that on the news?
Oh no.
So on the local news, on the bulletin at the bottom, it was like residents of Buffalo and everybody take shelter and lock your doors and stay vigilant because a murderer was out, but he'd murdered someone in Jamestown,
Fantastic.
which is where Laura's from.
Oh wow.
But yeah, while we were out gallivanting around Niagara, they were advising people to stay vigilant and lock your doors.
Did they find them?
I don't think so. They were like also like a ex-military survivalist person,
Wow.
which is like the best escape.
They'll never find them if they went to Jamestown. That's what everybody is an ex-con.
Yeah. It does have
Pretty
ex-con
much.
vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, when is the first time you guys met?
Well, remember the house on Curson?
Yeah, I think because we lived at the same house on Curson. It was 1865 Curson. So we lived there. Laura Milligan lived there. Jerry Finelli lived there from Red Cross.
Yeah.
Then you and Jack were living there for a while.
Yeah, yeah. We moved in after everyone moved out, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty much like a year later.
This
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like a commune? What kind of house
Yeah,
It
was
was
it?
like
kinda.
a comedy, like, one of those
Flop house.
houses that like every comedian like rents a room. Greg
Mhm.
Barrett lived there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bram Posehn lived there.
Really?
And, it was kind of like all the comics from San Francisco. We're all friends kind of because of Janine Garofalo, because she was friends with you, and then I was friends with her, and then we both idolized you.
Oh, how
So
crazy.
you were like the
See?
most beautiful, funniest, tallest, most, just elegant lady, but also so funny. So it was like a really...
Well, that's not how it was at all, Margaret.
No.
See, I tell Laura all
Every
the time.
time you come in the room, it was like that everybody would just stop.
Uh-huh.
And
Laura has a presence.
maybe David Cross, and we would always talk about how, you're the most beautiful woman in the world. That
That's-
there's no greater beauty has ever lived.
Oh, my God. Well, look how far it's gotten me. But Margaret, I thought that, and I still do about you, and I also was going to say that we met, I think that Luna Park was a big part of it because of Beth Lapidus, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it overlap when y'all were there? Y'all
Yeah.
were roommates?
Yeah, because you were in the front room, and then I was in the very, very back room. And
Who had the better room?
I think my room was a good room because I had a separate entrance,
See? Yeah.
Ah,
and it was also next to the washer and dryer. I also had my own
See?
bathroom.
Separate entrance is immediately sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Because I was like really like in the in-law unit.
Yeah.
So it felt very like I would have been in 90s terms, but this, would have been an Airbnb.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have that then.
I remember that there were one or two really fun parties at that house.
Yeah. Great parties. Always, it's just fun because there's always something happening because there's always comics in town,
Yeah.
especially during pilot season. People would come and they would like stay for a week or two or, and then always the comics from Boston would come.
Yep.
It was always Boston guys. So then we would always host people like Paul Kozlowski or like Ron Lynch or
Crazy.
any of the like San Francisco, Boston people.
Yeah.
Did you, before you got your show in the 90s, were you going up for pilots and stuff like that
Yeah.
before it?
Yeah.
Just to like score a sitcom gig and stuff?
Anything.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Michael Mann's Heat.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Wayne's World. I auditioned for Romeo and Michelle. I auditioned for Clueless. I auditioned for, all of those movies. Every movie that was a movie, I was up for at some point.
Amazing.
But never got. We were all just sort of going, and very young, we would go to the farmer's market in the morning and have coffee and breakfast and then do comedy at Big and Tall Books. Did you do that?
Yep. I was thinking of the soup plantation. That was kind of our hang. Remember in the
Right.
mall?
Right.
Janine and Margaret. I know it was
Suplex in the
terrible.
mall.
And
Kathy Griffin.
and Kathy and Laura Milligan. We'd go there. That was our big meal in the mall.
Yeah.
I remember that.
The big
mall?
meal at the Soup Plantation, which was like all of that food would just sustain you for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And Colin Quinn was around, Bob
Yeah.
Odenkirk, all of the Mr. Show guys.
Yeah.
Mr. Show is still the first time I ever hit a bong. Sorry, it always comes back to that. But the first time it was watching Mr. Show, I sneaked out of my house as a teenager and just instinctively I put my mouth around the bong, instead of like in it. Do you know what I mean? Like put my lips around the glass. Which was like the glass hurt my teeth. I totally did that. And my friends were trying to act like it's normal, right? Like I blew the bong. And then we watched Mr. Show.
I love that.
But that's so cool that you were hanging out. And so everyone's just at the mall and Soup Plantation and seeing each other at shows.
Yeah. And, we would all go to shows. We had like also the Largo show, which was Monday. Sunday was Uncab. Monday was the Largo show. Or we'd do like something on Pedro's, something on Vermont.
Right.
And then the rest of the week there was shows. Thursday was Cocktail Club.
That
Remember
I
that?
don't remember.
Cocktail Club was
Of all
Thursday night.
things.
That's
where
funny.
that was maybe a little bit later on, which was people really into swing dancing.
That reminds me of I remember the Derby for that sort of. But also I loved Largo when it used to be on Fairfax.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, to me, that was the best
I
one.
hated
That
that
was a good
90s swing dance revival. I hated that era.
It's so gross.
It is super gross.
Yeah.
It was but that one Squirrel Nut Zippers song
Yeah.
was good.
It's really, it's not really any offense to the individual like bands at hand or the music style in general.
Yeah.
It's just the weird basicness of it that's gross.
Did your parents ever come? Has Polly ever come to see you? Or your parents have been to see you.
Oh yeah, they come.
Yeah.
But they don't come anymore because my mom can't hear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard for her to understand what you're doing unless she's right in front of you. And she can sort of read your lips.
Right.
Because she's just like losing her hearing.
Right.
Pretty much like completely.
We went to Disneyland this last week.
Oh, wait, your parents were in town.
Yes.
Wait, I have to ask Margaret one question
Oh, yeah, go
before
for
we
it.
launch. And Margaret, your parents are together?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they just moved to a really fancy assisted living
Oh, great.
in Irvine.
It's kind
That's
of the
nice.
dream.
It's nice.
Glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Polly ever come see you perform?
Yeah, I was in my 20s and I was somewhere at a college before I went on stage. We were staying there and she said, don't say the F word. And so, of course, I had to get on stage and say, well, my mom asked me not to say fuck, so I'm going to try and keep away. And anyway, it was just, and then afterward, this is the highest compliment I think of my mom has given me. She said, well, they seem to like you.
Oh.
That's sweet though. My parents came to it like a taping at the West Side Comedy thing. They did a filming there, which is a small room and it was well lit. And my mom was at the back of the room. But we sort of do the inherited thing where I watch comedy. Like if I'm watching television and stuff, I have a look of horror. Like if on my laptop the scene fades to black, I can see my reflection in the screen. It's usually just a furrowed brow. But I'm like up there performing on TV and I can see my mom at the back of the room and she has that same face. I'm sure she's horrified by what she's seeing and hearing, but also that's just like her TV face. I remember thinking that while I'm doing it, living it. I'm looking at my mom like she is horrified
So
at her faggot son. No, they're great. We were in Disneyland and that's just when I realized they're old. I was like,
Wait, they came for how long? They were here. They stayed with you,
it
or
was
no?
like 4 days, but
Yeah.
it feels like a much longer time.
Yeah,
it was
I'm
a
sorry.
lot.
Go ahead.
No, they got here Monday. We went to Disneyland. I went with my nieces. Everybody thought I was their dad, which it's
Aw, that's cute.
It was cute, but I was like, why bother correcting them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, why bother?
But we went on all the rides and we met all the villains. But it was like, I don't like being a gunkle. You're a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're this weird family cheerleader. Like, I'm also not the kind of person who has the patience for kids. It's like, I want to go on the haunted ride and see all the dark shit. I think Disneyland is best if you're young or on psychedelics.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you ever done an amusement park out here?
I've gone to Disneyland, but it's been so long I can't remember the last time. I think maybe when I worked for Disney in the 90s.
What?
So when you went to Disneyland, if you're a Disney employee or in their movies or TV shows, you get to bypass all of the lines.
Wow.
You have a Disney, a liaison somebody in like a, I think it's like a plaid vest, and they
I saw
carry
that.
you around. Yeah, they walk you around, and you pass all the lines, and you get whatever food you want for free, and you can ride as many times as you want, and get anything you want. It's like very much this elite experience. So I don't know if I would be able to go back any other way.
You can't like sit in with the common people again. I feel like that's the other thing. It's like it's very cruise shippy. It's like a cruise ship smashed into a cartoon.
And you both have done stand up on a cruise ship, which to me would be hell on earth.
It is.
It's really hard.
It's hard.
Have you
I get seasick.
Have you ever done a show which wasn't great, and then you had to keep running into the same people that were in the audience?
Yes.
Ah, jeez.
The worst. The worst.
Old queen, we were in Colombia, a beautiful country, and I ran in Cartagena, and some old queen came up to me and goes, I enjoyed your show, although it was quite offensive. I was like, how can I offend an old gay? You know what I mean? I was like, I am an old gay man. How can I offend someone from my generation?
And also, why would anybody come up and say that?
Yeah.
Like, that is so rude.
Like, am I supposed to make an adjustment? That's how I felt. It was like that kind of a critique.
It's just a weird thing. It's like that when people say, I like you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
Just like the worst.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Very much like they seem to like you.
I thought you were funny.
Yes.
Oh boy, you're the smart one in the crowd.
Well, because you did gay cruises.
Yeah.
Did you ever do a straight cruise as a comedian?
Yes.
Which is harder?
They're awful in different ways.
Yeah.
I think only because I'm like a landlubber. I get super seasick.
Jeez.
The one thing
It's hard.
That's awful.
I got very into just staring out my window at the open sea.
Right.
I got into that. I was more disturbed when I had to go out and like mix with cruise people just to get food at a buffet.
Margaret, what do you do if you're seasick? You just stay in your room?
Yeah, and take a lot of Dramamine and wear those weird like bracelets that like push down on the pulse points that keep you from being seasick.
Oh,
What?
I was just
I
in so much pain too.
Yeah.
It's
Jeez.
awful.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. So
Don't ever
I don't
go
like
again,
it.
either of you.
Dramamine's kind of fun because it really just puts you to sleep.
Yeah, it's pretty much fentanyl. It's just like Oxycontin. To me, I just don't like being in a ship. I don't like the feeling. I don't like the aesthetic. So that's part of it.
We docked. I think I said this, but we docked with I was not cruising with the gay people. I was just there to perform, right? So everybody's fucking having a great time, and I'm just kind of like in my room watching as much cable as I can. And then we docked in Key West with like a Disney boat, and then you saw all the families and the straight people coming out of that. I was like, you know what? I love my faggot boat. It was like it's so much better on ours. It was like I would trade that any day. There's like screaming children.
So, but do you get to stay at the destination for any length of time, like wherever you're cruising to?
You're hiding from everybody all the time.
Yeah, it sort of depends. It depends on where you go, but usually you're only there for like the day.
I went to Costa Rica to perform, and fucking Laura gave me all these Costa Rican coins to lug to the country to spend because she didn't cash them out at the airport in a pill caddy. That's my favorite part. Is she gives me like a Monday
I want to
through
be
Friday,
buried in a pill caddy.
cremated, and we'll spread your ashes on each day. We could do that. Saturday's on its way. That's actually
the best.
That'd be great merch, like funeral merch. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a great way.
Right.
Distribute your ashes. My aunt carried her son around in like an old cigarette case, and she just flick it open.
And he wasn't cremated.
And he wasn't. Just bones would fall out. Wait, I always thought that you had done a cruise or been on one.
Fuck no. I'm
Really?
afraid. I don't even know what. I mean, I
seem
feel
like a
like my
lounger.
confidence always comes and goes. Like, I only very recently got comfortable doing weekend nights of shows.
What?
Yes, because I totally kind of don't care anymore. Margaret, Margaret doesn't. I don't know if I haven't told Margaret. I had a brain aneurysm 2 years ago. So thanks to Garrett, I'm still here. I almost died.
Can you hear the bitterness in her voice?
Yeah, I'm still here. He could have let me die in my sleep, which is what I've always wanted to do, but he had to
Right.
save me. He had to be the martyr and save me. Yeah, so I almost had the kind of sexy death of William Holden. I almost bled out.
No.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, in my brain, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Were you like surrounded by rose petals and all that, like candlelight? That's how you got to do it.
Oh, I know. But instead I was in the hospital and had to say yes to brain surgery.
Okay, wait.
They had to sign something.
What?
Yeah.
Before it happened?
Yeah. I mean, for all I know, they could have said, would you like, you just bought a boat and we're going to just send you off on it.
Yeah. Do
I don't
you want
even-
a lollipop?
Yeah, I couldn't really tell what I was doing. I was just signing my name.
Are you okay?
And who do I make this to?
and can I ask you questions about the surgery?
Yeah.
Are you aware of any of that?
in the surgery?
Yeah.
No.
You're out.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy.
Yeah.
And then when you wake up, does it feel like, oh my God, someone's been messing with my head?
No. I just was really happy to. The worst of it was what Garrett went through.
Yeah.
Because on the way there, were you
Because you were
park,
backseat
Garrett?
driving,
Okay.
even though you were having an aneurysm.
No, I didn't want to go because it was it was during COVID. I don't care what happens, I'm going to boss you around. It was during COVID, and I knew enough to think, oh, I'm afraid to go to the hospital, you know. And then when we got in the car, finally, Garrett said, "Come on, I think we should go for a drive." And, you know, because I'm a dog at heart, I said, okay, I want to go for a ride. I want to go for a ride. So I got in the car, and then he said, do you know where we're going? And I said, yeah, I think it's good. We're going yoga babysitting.
Yeah.
Which sounds like something that could happen.
Yoga
Margaret?
babysitting? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
it's
just
not
play
a
with
thing. It's
Yeah.
two of the things I would never do. Yoga
And
or
babysitting.
Yes.
That's when he knew something was wrong.
Yeah. So then he had to worry, like, okay, I'm not making any sense, and who knows what. Yeah, and so then when I got there, they said, well, my brain had been bleeding for 3 days, and I had to get brain surgery. But yeah, I had to sign and say, well, I might not make it through, or it might be, you know,
You may as well have gotten on a
more of a
submersible at
vegetable.
that point.
Yeah, yeah. And so,
How does that happen? How do you have an aneurysm like that?
Well, this is the bullshit of it. They don't know, and they say it's stress or dehydration.
Oh.
But I really think it's from hitting my head a lot.
Well, wait.
Because I'm so fucking clumsy. I'm always falling up and down stairs or clunking my head.
We got to get you a one-story house.
I know, but I think it could be. Well, I mean, he did say it could be. It's rare because it's just for sports figures, multiple head injuries.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
But
what
I
sport
think-
did you play?
Oh, none. But I've fallen on my head a lot.
Uh-huh. Wait, did
Like
you ever play sports?
skating field hockey was all I could do.
Did you ever play sports?
I played basketball and I was on a swim team,
You are wearing like
Amazing.
Lakers basketball
Yeah.
shorts as you say that.
but not as I was that when I was a really young teenager. Never in adulthood.
Yeah.
I was never like one to like go to like who is it like Gary Shandling's house and play basketball.
Sarah
What was that?
Silverman used to play.
Sarah would go and do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Like Sarah and Wayne Fetterman and all those other people.
Yeah.
Like anybody who'd go to Dave Rath's house
Oh.
would probably go. I mean, we'd go to Dave Rath's house, but we would probably. They were all going out late, like on the weekend, to Gary Shandling's to play basketball.
Amazing.
Wow.
He was a basketball guy. He's
Yeah.
like Prince.
Yeah.
So wait, you lived in a comedy house. Was that something like a place that people came and like were comedians just trying to work it and then eventually moved out? Like more people would come in, sort of a thing? Or
Yeah, well, it was like, we all comics, like in the 90s would, and Ron Lynch had one in San Francisco that you stayed at.
Yeah.
And it was near the one that and then I had one that was near Ron's, and the one that was a block away from mine was Patton Blaine and Brian Posehn. So we were all in the Richmond district. So it was the house it was Alex Reed, Ron Lynch, and Jim Earl.
Yeah.
Comics would just get these apartments and hopefully like rent control and then basically just split the rent. And then so if you went to Boston, you would probably have the equivalent. Like if you were a comic, you were probably able to go. You also had to be funny.
Oh, yeah.
All the people that we hung out with were funny.
Yeah, that was lucky.
That was lucky. But it was also, self-determined. Like we were always very conscious of whether the person is funny or not. There were never any hacks. No ventriloquists.
yeah.
That's right.
No puppets.
No
That's
puppets,
right.
no prop acts, no nothing.
But I never felt like an alt comic because I didn't have the guts to just go on stage and fuck around. I always had to write everything out first and do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
But that's still alts, too. I mean,
Yeah.
alt comedy doesn't mean go on unprepared or
Like wing it, yeah.
wing it.
Yeah.
That also would bother me, too. Later sort of iterations of quote-unquote alt comedy was just bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
So, like, weird. Like, I don't want to just have, like, stream of consciousness. I want to point to the story.
Dang.
Yeah.
See, I struggle with that, especially not as very controversial, like crowd work.
Yeah.
Because like Paula Poundstone was great at crowd work, right? But
Yeah.
like 20 years before that, it would be hack as shit to ask a question from the audience, like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
beg the material. But anyone who's waited tables or bartended for 1,000 years know that like small talk with strangers is a survival mechanism. It's not
Yeah.
an act.
Yeah.
Like that's where I draw the line, just because I'm like, I've had to suffer through making boring people exciting. It's like I've done that for a living. It's not fun.
I would never say, how you guys doing tonight? Because I never wanted to know.
Yeah,
truth,
I would never.
yeah.
I would never.
My
I just don't. I wouldn't know how to react to the answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't want to have to think on my feet right
like
now.
craft
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there. Yeah. What was your first TV gig?
Writing, you mean?
You on screen, on camera.
Um,
What was yours?
Mine was a show that was like a candid camera show, and it was called Totally Hidden Video.
Yes.
And it was on Fox.
Yes.
I was a maid who couldn't speak English, and I was in a trailer, which would gradually fill up with barnyard animals.
Yes.
What the fuck?
I was also trying to clean it, and people were coming in as prospective renters.
Yes.
And one of the people who came in, this man tried to sexually assault me.
Whoa.
Another person
Jeez.
was like just trying to like run around with the animals. It was just like all this chaos happening.
Yes.
So that was like, and I think it was like 16 or 17.
Wow. Was that in San Francisco? Or was that out here?
That
or
was
New York?
that was here in LA.
Oh, okay.
Another job I got was on a TV show, which is so weird, and I cannot say the name, but it was a very famous. I'll tell you what. We're not recording.
Yes.
It was a comedy show, but it was like a thing happening on an island, which is already creepy. And so the male star, very very famous person, was also on it, and he wanted to go out to dinner with me after the filming, and so then I went out with him, and then he got gradually drunker and drunker, and then he tried to come to my room, and then I just shut it and I turned the lights off and I just laid in bed really quiet. And then he called me, and he was so drunk by the time he called me. He was crying about his model girlfriend he didn't understand. And all, and I was like so scared. And then I just was like, I hung up the phone and I just shook all night, like so terrified. And, was able to fly off the island the next day.
Wait, is it David Copperfield?
No.
That weird.
I'll tell you after.
Okay,
That is
okay.
terrifying.
That's awful.
It's so scary.
And you're all just trying to do it for a job.
Yeah. I've seen him since, and it's like, he either doesn't remember. It's also like I've had, it's just.
Can I ask you one more hint, Margaret? Was he part of a team?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was going to guess Penn, Gillette, or
No.
He called me once. I was at the one who talks too much, the tall one. He called me when I was in Vegas bombing, and I was like, how did he get my room? I guess everybody knows what other comics are there. And he asked me if I wanted to join him in the hot tub with Blondie. And I want to say, could you leave and I could just sit with Blondie? And anyway, I was afraid to go. Anyway, weird shit on the road.
I would love to meet Blondie, though.
She's great.
Oh, of course, you guys would be friends.
She's
my friend Chris is
beautiful.
friend.
Dude,
Yeah,
Margaret
beauty.
knows every famous person.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. A lot of good ones.
Did you see
some bad ones?
Sheila E. just got her star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, that's great.
And she brought her like drumsticks to like tap on them, and they're like bongos behind her.
Amazing.
But
I love
Ringo
her.
was there.
Oh yeah.
You're fucking friends with Ringo.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are either of you starstruck by people anymore?
Yes, all
Really?
the time. All the time. Yeah, all the time.
The last night of Normal.
How about I struck a star? Did I tell you about this, Daniel?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Mark. This happened yesterday. I was driving in the afternoon. I stopped at the crosswalk. I always stop at the crosswalk for a long time because I'm worried about squirrels and animals and people too. And I stopped and I was listening to Waze, and I'm so excited that I finally figured out, and it's so easy. Everybody knows about it. But I was trying to do exactly what she said when she said it. Take a right. And I almost hit Mark Ruffalo.
Oh.
Amazing.
Do you remember my Chinese bed that was, I don't know if you came to my house when it was in off of Curzon. I moved to Belgium.
Oh, yeah, that beautiful. I remember that was beautiful.
So Mark Ruffalo worked at the furniture store that I bought it at and put it together.
Oh, my
And he's
God.
the only one that knows how to put it together and take it apart. So when I moved, I wanted to ask him if I could just pay him his like SAG day rate. I just didn't know how I was going to get this bed out because he was the only one who knew how to put it together.
Oh, amazing.
That's
So
hilarious.
I have seen him since then, and he's assured me that anytime I need it moved, he will do it for me.
What? First of all, he's one of these guys, and Garrett, forgive me, he's gorgeous. And he just know that when he rolls out of bed, looks like he does. He's
Yes.
just- anyway, and I was wondering when I hit him, I think I just tapped his, I don't know what, but
His body or his car?
no, I threw my body against it. No, I was in my car and he was walking on the crosswalk. It was like a Midnight Cowboy. Like he stopped, had to put his hand on the hood of the car, like like I'm walking here.
Yeah.
And then I looked up in shock because I didn't see him. And then he looked at me, seeing that I was in shock. And then he was like, realized it was,
It's just Laura.
No. And then he just walked across the restaurant. And then I felt sick about it all morning and afternoon. And I thought, should I have like gone up and drove up and said, I'm sorry? But then would he have thought I was like a nut,
Oh, no. I feel like
Stalker.
that's a pitch. That's a moment in entertainment Like you have to like make the connection.
He's cool though. He used to be the bartender at Lucky on Hillhurst.
Oh, I love that bar.
Yeah.
Did you do stand up there? We did stand up there too. I
yeah,
think. They
probably.
had a
I'm
little
sure.
thing,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he was a bartender there. It's hard when you know somebody who was not a star before.
Yeah.
And now they're like huge star. It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. What is that
That's
like?
kind of like, I know you, Margaret. You're a huge star. I knew you before.
So did y'all used to perform on shows together all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Have y'all ever done television together?
We did the thing with Kathy and Janine for Pam. Okay, well, they were trying to put together the female version of Kids in the Hall. And this is in the 90s. So Pam Thomas, who produced Kids in the Hall, wanted to do that. So she got me, you, Janine, Kathy. Was there somebody else? Sarah Silverman, maybe? I don't remember.
I almost feel like she was in New York then. Or
Maybe it was Melissa Samuels.
Yes, it was Melissa.
It was Melissa.
Yeah.
And
Any Jew will do. Is that what you're saying? That's what Margaret just said. We're interchangeable. Well, half of me is interchangeable.
who was the at the Groundlings?
Yeah.
So and we did it. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I was the only one that couldn't dance at all.
Oh, you could dance.
No, you guys, you and Laura Milligan picked it up really fast, and I think.
But you had to dance.
Yeah, we did a little number.
Line dance.
Yeah,
we did
line dance
number.
So
Which
you test drove a TV show at the Groundlings.
And it was like the female version of the Kids in the Hall, like with the same
Sketch.
aesthetic and the same thing. But I think that was all we did.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was called.
Brick House.
Oh, Brick House.
Yes, it was. Is that what it's called?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I can't believe I can remember that.
That's so
pretty amazing.
smart.
Wow.
So, wait, describe that. Was that something y'all got together and like had to write a bunch of stuff together, or
Yeah.
just like get the sketches and all
Yeah,
that
we
shit?
did sketches, and I really couldn't remember what the sketches were except for the line dancing and something.
I don't think people realize that like the game is so much of like throwing all these ideas and like not anything that'll work, but almost anything that'll work, right? Like years of trying, and it's like all these things, these people you come across. Yeah,
I
like,
can't pitch for shit.
Well, I don't think
either.
people realize it's that continuous, right? You have to kind of leave ideas in the past.
Yeah.
Like, what is that like? Because, like, especially in the 90s, right? When, like, everybody, like, comedians were getting sitcoms all the time. That seemed to be the through line.
Mm-hmm.
That was the trajectory. But yeah, like, it was also, sketch was like, this kind of new thing where people were trying different things. One of the sketches I remember from Brick House was me and Laura Milligan did Spike and Mrs. Lee, which it was Mrs. Lee was a old Asian woman in love with a young punk rocker, and it was Laura, but she was like in a mohawk with a bald cap, and I was like on age makeup, really old, and we were like, it was just a weird May December. It was like Harold and Maude,
Yes.
but it was just
Margaret and Laura.
it was really ridiculous.
Do you know Laura Milligan?
No, I don't.
She's great.
No.
Great.
She's really great.
Oh, not you.
No, she was
Oh.
our old friend,
Yeah.
But yes, sketch was also allowed to be really surreal.
Yeah.
That's why like Mr. Show really thrived.
Yes.
Or like Ben Stiller's show, which only went that one season, but still like they were able to get very surreal with it. Or The State.
Yeah.
Very surreal.
But I also think too, as far, even today, like male comics can go a lot further. Other than Roseanne and Joan Rivers, it's pretty hard, for most women comics to sustain a career in front of the camera. I think.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like it should change. It should change with, I think, our era of comedians, like Wanda Sykes is doing really well. The people in our age group, I think, are doing really well. So
Y'all aren't elders yet. You're not there. You have
but if we're thinking about like comedy as like what's coming up or what's going to happen, like I would hope that we'd be able to sustain something.
Yeah.
Queerness, I wanted to ask, back in the 90s, was queerness a part of your like all-American girl story, or was that something you didn't?
We couldn't do it because it was like they were so controlling about anything like that. But I was always like hanging out with the queers. Like everybody would come over to my house, and it would be like me and Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall, and Leah Delaria just getting high at my house. But and we would go to like APLA functions and do all that sort of AIDS fundraising stuff. But it was just not as big of a deal as it is now.
Totally.
It existed. Queer Hollywood existed for sure, but it was definitely different.
And by the way, now I have to plug that Daniel and I are doing the LGBTQ I want to say AI, but that's not. That hasn't been added, has it?
I don't know. It's implied. Yeah.
No, okay.
The I stands for implied.
Okay. Burbank Comedy Festival on August 12th.
But wait, is it LGBT or is it just the Burbank Comedy Festival?
Oh, yeah, but our night is LGBTQ. And I would be, why am I there? Because I have a question, but it's not about sex. My question. I'm questioning, and my question is, what is the point?
You're an ally. That's what you are. You're an ally. You get to be the A.
This is Mackie cover my balls.
Oh, geez.
Remember that?
Margaret. Yeah, I used to do. Well, that happened because Liz Winstead and I were hanging out. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Liz because I'm so impressed with what she's doing, like helping women with her organization, the Abortion Access Front, AAF, pardon me, which is amazing. But anyway, Liz and I, this is when we're in New York, we're walking across the street. And there was this beautiful drag queen that was walking by, and I said, I want to be that famous, that drag queens dress like me when I'm dead. And so I did this whole bit about, can you see my balls in this gown? Or whatever. Like that's the height of fame. And it kind of is now. It really fucking is.
I like that voice.
Yeah.
That.
I think
I want that to be my ringtone.
I don't know. I don't know who that is. But I think like.
Have you ever dragged up? Have you ever gone out and dragged?
Every day.
As a man or woman?
Oh, no.
Every day. Shut up.
Sometimes when if I put on, Spanx, I feel like, am I going to get away with it?
Mm-hmm.
Can I pass as a woman? But I always thought like, okay, that would be probably now an honor, but can you ever be as famous or as well liked as a shoe?
Whose shoe?
Well, when people are around the block waiting for a shoe.
Oh, right.
That's like
nobody is. Yeah,
that's like a strictly
like
LA thing.
A shoe drop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I only see that in LA.
And I don't ever notice what the specialness of the shoe is. It's like a weird thing of like, I don't know why this is so important.
It's like a who made it or just a collection.
The number or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't understand.
You moved to LA in the 80s?
I moved to LA in 1991.
And when did you move to LA, Laura?
Oh, I was back and forth. Let's see. Yeah, I moved, I think, in 89 or 90.
So, but you used to tour all the time.
I was staying down here before. I've been coming back and forth to do comedy things since 1986, probably.
Yeah.
So, and then finally did the big move in 1991.
And like in the old days, how would you book yourself in like the 80s and the 90s?
I would tag on to like other big female headliners and get to open for them. And then they would just bring me on the road. So I opened a lot for Brett Butler. A ton.
Amazing.
For her. And then I worked a lot with Greg Proops. Actually,
really?
a ton, yeah.
Oh, I love Greg.
So, I would just attach myself to like certain headliners and kind of just work with them, which was a great way to get stage time and also some sort of work safety.
Yeah.
Which is really good. But then you would call and then you would get to know these bookers who would just book you for like all these rooms that they were running.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got management and an agent pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So then I was sort of like outsourced that. And then I worked with a management firm later who managed Michael Jackson.
Fantastic.
Which is so weird.
Amazing.
And Roseanne and Dolly Parton. Super weird.
Wow.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Dolly?
No, not yet.
Really?
But she did send me a box of her makeup in the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, she had a makeup line?
She had a makeup line and a fragrance. And some skincare too, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I have some of it somewhere. I'm sure
That's
I
making it
Y'all
to
should
me.
Uh-huh.
When somebody, I remember.
Laura always asks that. How do you know when you've made it?
I can't wait to find out. That I remember, Janine and I were on SNL together, and there was this gal. It was David Spade's sister-in-law gave Janine this really cool kind of vinyl purse, like this really cool bag, and that was Kate Spade.
Right.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Shit like that. So the last night before COVID ruined everything, I was on tour with Margaret, opening for her in Oklahoma City, and Orville Peck, who's a country singer, was there. That's when I learned I don't know how to meet famous people because I talk too much. That's one of the times. But he gave her a bunch of merch stuff, and Margaret gave me a handkerchief of Orville's, and I remember thinking, oh, that's so cool. But then I wore it as a mask for the next like 3 months. You know what I mean? But that was one of the things where I realized how many people work on the road and how many, like, you're talking about like job safety and things like that. Like, were you ever, Laura, like a road comic?
A little bit. No.
You never had
I like ate it so much on the road. And plus, I remember just looking for something to eat, at midnight at these places. Like I was like a raccoon foraging along the side of the dumpsters. I was, like the only place open for food at night when the bars closed and everything was like a 7-Eleven or something. So I'd be like getting a hot dog or a donut and then walking back to my hotel room and just thinking, this is not it.
This is not the life.
Oh, see, we like going to the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I really enjoy a gas station.
Like a gas station meal, a gas station snack.
I just felt lonely and like, man, this sucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on like the level of comfort that you have with something like a gas station buffet of like pickles or sour candies.
Yeah.
I do really like
a honey bun can get you like a day's worth of sustenance.
By the way,
right?
this episode is brought to our listeners by Combos.
Yeah, there's something survivalist about like the journey of it that I'm like the food is just the thing to get me to there and back. So I kind of like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm trekking.
Yeah, I mean, I do like going on the road just because I'm so used to it. And like the one road gigs that would like really mess me up was Janine and I did that college tour with the NACA thing where you had to do 21 shows in a row.
That's amazing. But did you have to do the South by South? Did you have to do the thing first where you sat in like a kind of a booth and the college kids had to pick you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was, I remember the humiliation of that. I never got picked. I sat there.
It was a horrible event. But then we would just have to do all these shows and then drive from state to state to go to another show. And you would make a lot of money, but it was so soul-sucking. Yeah. Horrible.
And you're not really, well, I don't know, in my experience with those, you're not really performing. It's more like you're literally giving a speech.
Yeah, just getting by.
Oh, yeah.
Getting by.
Paul Kozlowski had a good way of describing that. He said it's like being a bull rider in a rodeo. You're just trying to stay up for your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
Wait, when would you did NECA as well?
No, I mean, I did it, but never got chosen. Or maybe I feel like there were always 2 or 3 young girls, or maybe even my age, or a little bit young. Well, no, I guess they were younger because they were high school or whatever. And they would talk to me the whole time, and I would like kind of maximize their time because I didn't want it to seem like nobody was there
talking to you.
They were trying to leave, and I was like, so what's it like there at the, it was sad.
For people listening, you perform, you audition for college kids, and then you have to go, in most cases, you have to go to like a convention center.
Oh, they're college kids, right?
Where you have a booth essentially set, and everybody has their own booth, and it's a total, essentially, popularity contest.
Well, they just fill in whether they want to have you, but it's like, if you do the shows, then they decide from there, but it's just who knows.
Yeah.
Know?
I remember Jay Moore was probably next to me in a booth, and it seemed like a lot of the kids liked him.
I love Jay Moore. I hate that. That's like, he is really funny, but he reads very like toxic masculinity because he's got such a thick neck. You know what I mean?
He's a sweet guy. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's so sexy though.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Yeah. There's few things that make me feel like a man, but he has a joke about where you play a video game until you just fall asleep on a couch. That's like the male way of falling asleep. I was like, I related to that. That's the only male thing I ever related to.
What is your next gig? Because this is going to probably go out next week.
So this week, when this comes out, we'll be in Ontario on Friday. Is it Friday? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, great.
At the Improv there. Is that it?
I think so, yeah.
That's the Improv there. And then after that, what do we have?
They're still local, like Bray or something. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, then we're like in Irvine and maybe Brea. There's a few like things happening, and then in November we'll resume other touring stuff in September, but in November we're at the New York Comedy Festival.
Oh, fantastic! That'll be fun. Do you guys still have to do morning interviews, radio stuff?
Yeah, but not for this tour specifically, but yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I always thought that was hell. I thought
it's hard. Yeah,
getting up. First of all, I'm never awake until about 4:00 in the afternoon, and so getting up at 7 or 8 and having like a college kid or somebody like drive you to the radio station. And I thought, if anything, I'm convincing people not to go to the show because I'm tired. I sound like a fucking drag, like I always do.
I'm so obsessed with local news anyway that I love to like tag along. But one time I was watching local news on the road with Margaret and just happened to see like coming up next is Margaret Cho. I was like, oh my God. And just like watch the segment.
It's fun because Lucia likes it.
Oh,
She's always a big hit at the station.
That's a
and
good
then
idea.
sometimes they'll have other adoptable animals.
Oh,
so
that's
she can
great,
tell
yeah.
them what this life is like.
Oh, that's sweet.
I miss
So
I like
cute.
that.
in Texas, or in Austin, the local news, they would have, it was like wild. They had like Vet Wednesday, where there'd be like an animal, like a veterinarian on it, and you could call in and ask your question. But it's Texas, so people would be like, the family bobcats, like ears and you'd hear all this other wildlife going on, like all these exotic animals. Like our snake had babies and things like that. Should we sell them? And you get all that, and then it's like, we
Did
just
my
went.
son get an alligator pregnant? I'm just curious.
But it would always be like, where's just the like puppies and kittens questions? Like, what's with the yeah?
So funny.
But that is very Texan. There's a tiger sanctuary south of Dallas that I really want to go to.
Oh, that's incredible.
I know, like that's worth a field trip.
Yeah, that's really incredible.
You tourist a little bit when you go on the road.
Very little. I used to do more. Every once in a while I will. I mean, I do love to just like lay down all day. So that to me is like really fun. Especially if we do morning radio, then I'm like so tired for the
That's
rest of the
the job.
day.
Yeah.
And shows are tiring.
It makes me nervous to get like away from a venue.
Yeah.
Right? Like it gives me anxiety.
Oh, yeah, to go out
physically
for the
get far
day.
away
Yeah.
from it. Yeah.
I remember this kid was really excited about showing me around St. Louis, and we went to the bowling museum, and I was like, I should be home, drinking everything in the mini bar, and then the arch, and so I was like, wow, so half of the McDonald's sign and bowling. This is where I am.
That's the whole city.
Yeah.
I was at a party at Wash U 23 years ago, and it
Wow.
was and someone spiked my drink with ecstasy, which was like actually criminal in my mind.
No,
But
it is.
It was very criminal, but that's the only time St. Louis was fun. I swear to God, it was like because I left the party. I was so offended that somebody did that. I left. And
That is offensive.
I was trying to get to the airport, right? Because I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what to do. I just need to go home. So I was like trying to like thumb a ride in
Oh, no.
yes, little 18-year-old Daniel. And then just as a cab finally, no cell phones, right? Just as
Yikes.
the cab finally drove by and took me to the airport was right when the drugs started kicking in.
Ah.
And then the next thing you know, I'm like over the front seat of the cab talking to the driver about the moon. This is a horrible night. A horrible night in St. Louis.
Fantastic.
It was terrible, and the people who I was with were all like in the doctorate program. They're all these like crazy biology, chemistry people.
Wow.
You know how SpaceX?
You were the
people
only one
trip?
on it. You were the only one on it.
I was the only one on an artist college career.
Oh.
No, they
No,
were
on
all on it,
ecstasy.
and I
Oh,
didn't
they
want
all-
to, so they
Oh.
spiked my drink.
That's rude.
Super rude.
That's rude.
But at least I didn't have to pay for anything.
I remember Jack was hosting something, and a bunch of guys from the Actors Gang, who I all knew, we were on the roof of the Standard afterward. I guess maybe it was like some award show. Anyway, Kyle Gass asked me if I wanted to try some ecstasy, and I said, have you guys already done it? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, just give me a half, And so he goes, well, that's not going to do anything. So I took a hold one. And then, of course, there were all these execs around and stuff. And I said to Kyle, are you like out of your mind right now? And he goes, no. And I said, what do you mean? It's not hitting you? And he goes, oh, no, we did it like 3 hours ago. And I said, you asshole, I'm the only one like out of my mind right now?
No, that's like getting.
I've got to talk to Doug Herzog?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I haven't done the thing where you pretend to take the shot. That's my favorite gag, is where you just like, you take it and you shoot it behind you. And that's how you just get out of it.
Oh, that's a good
love that.
idea.
Mhm.
That's a good idea.
That is good.
We got high in Atlanta. Do you remember? We were at the Laughing Skull.
Oh, yeah.
And we were doing the show. You were doing the weekend there.
Yeah.
And I was living upstairs.
Uh-huh.
And so I came down and then we smoked pot. Did you come to my apartment or we just smoked pot in the green room?
I think we maybe just smoked pot in the green room.
Yeah.
But that's where I remember. I feel like I ran into you outside of the club or something,
Yeah.
and then we hung out. That's how
We hung out.
That's when I see Margaret like all over.
Just in like
three
comedy
days.
clubs in different places.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but that was a good club tour.
Yeah, I really like that
The
club.
Laughing
That
Skull
was
is good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Margaret. So you were living there
Yeah. I was living in Atlanta for like 7 years.
because you were shooting.
Because I was shooting Drop Dead Diva there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So
Well, you
yeah.
lived there for a minute. It was like a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about it last week.
I'm sorry,
Atlanta's
I didn't
such
mean
a
to-
sexy city,
Yeah.
right?
But one time, Karen Kilgariff and I got kidnapped when we were on the road there. We were in like the middle of college gig stuff.
Wow.
And then we stopped down in Atlanta for the night. And so we thought, oh, we'll take a cab to Little 5 Points. And so we went shopping. And then we got in a cab to go back. and the cab driver was real chaotic, and he started talking about Hare Krishna, and he wouldn't stop talking about Hare Krishna, and then he wouldn't stop at our hotel, and he kept going, and he kept going, and we were like, we got to get out of this car.
Yeah.
Pretty soon there was a cop car following us, and then another cop car, and then another cop car, and then they all start their sirens at the same time, and finally, like, he drove off, and they, like, pulled out guns. And then he came out, and then, like, we were just sitting there like, should we get out too? So we get out, we're like, and they come in, they're arresting him, they like throw him to the ground and like, and stuff, and they're like with the guns out and stuff, and we're just kind of like, they're like, and then we just ran.
I was like, how the fuck do you get home from a thing like that?
We got another cab. This is before Uber.
Was he hot?
No, he was real. I mean, maybe in a Unabomber way, but he was really like just
only
a
Margaret would say that.
Well, because I always want to.
Unabomber's cute.
I would watch soap operas with my
Margaret,
aunt.
that says a lot about your taste in that. I just have to say.
No, my aunt would always watch. She picked me up from school. We were both, I guess, latchkey kids, but she was the adult, and so she picked me up from school, like make me peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and we'd watch soap operas. So I always want to fall in love with my captor. Right, like I want my captor to be hunky.
Jeez, that happened
Stockholm
a lot.
System.
That
soap operas,
syndrome,
right? People were kidnapped a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like I wanted to be captured and then romanced.
Well, like Luke and Laura.
Oh yeah,
I think it was Luke and Laura.
Yeah, because he kidnapped her.
He locked her up, right? Yeah, that was I think what we were watching.
And they
was
were
in
on the run.
Middle school when that song came up. Think of Laura, left don't cry. Like all the songs about Laura are about death. By the way.
They are?
Yeah. There's that one that was about death. And then there was my mom said there was an older song called Tell Laura I Love Her. And that was a guy in a car accident.
No.
Yeah.
I just get an Elton John song, which is great. And then I have Oh Danny Boy, which is an old song people don't know anymore. But
I love that song, though, the Elton John song.
That's a beautiful song.
Yeah, that's the only reason I know the lyrics to it is because people sing it to
Margaret,
me.
what are the songs about Margaret?
They're not.
I don't think there are any.
We're going to have to write one.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so Laura has drums. She's teaching herself drums.
Oh, really?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, definitely. I have drums, but Denise Frazier, who's an amazing drum teacher, was teaching me drums, and I've gotten so bad at it that I haven't called. I stopped taking lessons. I got to get back on there and then call Denise and take lessons again. Yeah.
So instead of learning, you've devolved. Your talent's gotten worse as a...
Yeah, I'm just cleaning the house instead. I'm not doing anything.
But that's a cool thing to do. That's a really cool thing.
Do you play an instrument?
I play guitar
that's right.
and piano and...
And you sing, Margaret.
Yeah,
you were
I
in
sing.
a band.
I play most instruments.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
if you
amazing.
play either one or the other, then you can figure out everything else.
Yeah.
All right, so now the three of us are going to be in a band. Guess
Yeah.
what?
I want
Garrett
to.
just pushed at me. Let's hear your poem.
Is that it? Oh my
Margaret,
God.
on our last podcast, we said we were going to read one of our poems that we wrote in high school.
Oh, good.
And
Oh,
do
good.
you have stuff like that? Do you keep anything like
I
that?
keep it, but I don't know where it is. I mean, it's all sort of in my house somewhere. Everything, all the detritus of my life is scattered everywhere.
My mom gave
Thank you.
me all of my stuff back, so I know where it is. But go ahead, read your
yours
poem
is
first.
from high school?
Yeah.
Mine's from like elementary school.
Oh, fuck you.
And I'm humiliated by
Oh, well,
this.
then mine's going to be worse. Okay,
Mine's
yours-
short. Yours is long.
No, I mean it's terrible. Well, I already teased it in the last episode, saying "Look out, look out."
Oh, that's right.
Everything
Okay,
is
yeah.
about a car accident. All right, go on.
Okay, but I did tell you the truth that it was on the printer paper with the little thing, and it's still connected.
Wow!
Look
Oh
at
my
that
gosh.
shit, right? I know, and it still has
Okay.
little Terry things. So, and I also don't think I wrote these and transcribed them. I think this is me free-forming on an idea.
Enough apologies,
wow.
enough disclaimers. I'm going to say that mine's from 6th grade now because you're going to be embarrassed. I'm going to be embarrassing myself.
I'm
Go ahead.
only going to read one.
Okay.
But you have your choice of the three. They all have a title. One is titled Creatures in the Night. The other one is titled The Neither World. And then the last one is titled Love.
How about love?
Okay.
Yeah.
This one's already canceled, FYI. Love by an elementary school Daniel Webb. This feeling love can only be shared with those people who have dared to have a relationship, just a boy and a girl. So canceled. Only two may feel this way and hope this love will last a day.
Aww.
It's cute, right?
Nice.
Good. Now
But very-
I want to hear the creatures one too. That's
But
so short.
Very
Let me hear.
gender conforming, that one. Okay, Creatures in the Night. This one's dark. Gloomy clouds swirl together, make a storm that will last forever. That's a Stevie Nicks song. Tornadoes, hurricanes, rain will fall and to be cut by a monster's claw. Shall morning come, the sky so clear, creatures of the night will disappear.
That's good.
That's good.
That's really good.
Yeah,
That could be a Fleetwood Mac song now.
It sounds like a Stevie Nicks
the
lyric,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
That was humiliating.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't.
really good.
That was so good.
That was.
I'm just going to give you the title of mine and then let us all back
And the
out
episode.
of it. It's called The Last Ride.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read it. How about that?
Why?
No, it's
Why?
fucking terrible.
We have to. You can't
Okay,
be a
Jesus.
tease.
You know, think about how dramatic you are as a ninth grader. Although I probably was older than that.
The
Okay.
last ride.
That's right. Oh my God. Okay. The morning froze our breath. Snowflakes like lace on the windows. We listened to the stones and swayed side by side. I was in love. You were in like. We laughed about skipping. The world was ours on that morning, our last ride. The icy road took us and we went careening off. Look out. Okay, I'm sorry. The trees went whipping by. You couldn't stop. You tried. Hit the guardrail. Okay, guardrail is a word that should be in every poem, by the way.
Yeah, it really flows,
Yeah.
right? And it rhymes with quite a bit.
Yeah,
Hangnail.
It doesn't rhyme with anything. Try in every beginner's guide to poetry writing. Try and get guardrail in wherever you can. Oh, and crashed at the bottom. Crashed at the bottom. Our lives were lost like mist in the sun rays.
It's wow.
Nice.
No,
Yeah.
that's embarrassing.
Mist
I
in
love
the
it.
sun rays is very visual,
I love it.
but it is tragic. Who was the person?
I think.
Who were
well,
you writing about?
I think there was a guy that I liked that was driving, and I think I probably got somebody to buy. This is how I got through high school. I would get an older friend to buy cases of Blatz to go to the prom to give to guys, and also
What is Blatz?
this shitty beer
Oh, yeah.
because we're all underage. Or I
Sure.
get somebody, my cousin who's older.
What is this spiral?
And so then I think it was this older guy that was like just driving me home from something. I don't know what
Wait, what is the spiral that you're reading out of?
in the morning. Oh,
I mean, is that like
my
was your
three-subject notebook. I don't know.
That's a read because mine was typed, but mine's typed on ancient computer paper.
And IBM. It's very IBM.
It's super IBM.
Yeah.
So wait, were you expressive as a child? You said you were...
I was, yeah. So I did a lot of writing. I think I would write like horror novels and like just kind of put them in. I remember that there was a true crime thing that I saw, and then I was sort of writing about that. I think her name was Mary Vincent, the woman who was attacked by the man who chopped off her arms and then threw her in the ditch.
Whoa.
And then
Jeez.
she got up and like put mud on her stomps and then like went and found the road and was able to testify against him in court, which is like incredible. So I wrote a story about that. I remember.
Wow. How old were you?
Probably like 12 or 13, something.
Jeez, that's awful to have even seen
Yeah.
or known about that.
It's so crazy.
Would you consider... Liz asked when we talked about this, being obsessed with death. Are you obsessed? I am. Are you obsessed with death?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Are you?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that having died for a few seconds, there's nothing. I just want to announce it. I know that there's nothing.
That cures
Yeah.
the obsession.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
I think it's innate. Like if you're a kid, kind of preoccupied
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
idea, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I love Margaret
For sure.
because she knows all the murder stuff, like
Yeah.
you know, serial
Wow.
killers.
Yeah, I know a lot about that kind of stuff, but it's also, I like death rituals. I like the aesthetic of like mortuary aesthetic, funerary aesthetic,
Yeah.
ritual aesthetic. It's all interesting to me.
Remember there was a few summers where they had stand-up at the Forever Cemetery?
Oh, yeah. I never did that, though.
We should do that.
That would be
We should
good.
do that again. Have you done Karen's show, My Favorite Murder?
I've done like special episodes of hers. But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
What is
Yeah.
your favorite murder? Not to co-opt it, but like, what's your favorite like?
Well, like the ultimate, I think, is probably Jonestown, People's Temple, because my parents had my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary at the People's Temple.
Wow.
So, because right after it happened,
really?
yeah, in San Francisco. So we were there, like in the weird crime scene, but it was like not the exact crime scene because it had happened in Guyana. But this was their home temple in San Francisco.
Wow.
So they had it there, which is really weird.
Very Branch Davidian.
It's very scary. And there's a lot of like people like sort of experiencing paranormal things during the party, which felt really weird. But
like what, Margaret?
well, they were just like, because Koreans believe that all ancestors are become ghosts, and so you have to please them, and that the ghosts were not pleased that we were having a party there. So they were all upset. it was like kind of in relationship to that.
Were things thrown around?
No, but there was like a sense of the people there who were very traditional Korean who were like, oh, we're not doing them a good turn by having this party here.
See, I think I'm too thirsty to see a ghost. Like, I want to see it too much that they don't show themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I want it too hard.
It's so, yeah. But it's like such an interesting thing. I like spirit photography. I think that's always really cool.
Wow, yeah.
It's always really scary.
Yeah, I always thought that was like, because now everybody on their camera, like every little green blip is like a ghost hunter. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no. I like when like figures appear, like faces in the dark. To me, that's really spooky.
Yeah, that shit. I was always into like, there was a murder of a man. He had married like 3 wives and they all died, but no one asked any questions. And it wasn't until someone was like digging up the cold case and looked at a photo of the crime scene that he saw the wife's face in the pillowcase.
Oh, wow.
Where he had suffocated her and then put it back on, but he'd like struggled so hard that her face mashed it and no one noticed. So then they went back and like they did an autopsy, but they looked and sure enough, there was like DNA evidence of her, like, yes. And so, like, her face was literally staring back. Like, it was the thing that saved her.
Amazing.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? I know.
That's amazing.
Okay, Margaret, I know we're going to be on the road, but where else can people find out all the exciting things about you?
People can find me on margaretcho.com, at Margaret Cho on Twitter, Margaret_Cho on Instagram, and the Margaret Cho on TikTok.
Yay!
Your TikTok is fun. I like your
Thank
TikTok.
you. Lots of Lucia on there.
It's a lot of Lucia. And people can see Lucia almost everywhere. She's
everywhere.
touring.
She's touring.
Cool. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Seeing you,
Lucia has a
Margaret, we're going
Substack.
to do this again.
I know. Meow. Okay, poet's out. Bye.
Man, this was great.
Yeah, right?
I'm so glad all of us got together. This was fun.